be round. Yeah, you all wanna be round. Round a champion, a champion. This is me, I'm still on it. Cause you all wanna be loved. Yeah, you all wanna be loved by a champion, a champion.
Hey everyone, so we've got the brakes on, and now we need to start putting parts on the handlebars as we talked about last scene. So just going to show you this battery here. This is what goes in the frame here, but it does take up quite a large area, as you can see. And I'll just hold it up there for you so you can see how much space it takes up. Alright, so you can see it takes up a large space of the cavity here in the frame. So what I've decided to do is, since this is a 5,000 watt controller, it's going to be really tight in there, and I don't want a controller creating heat close to the battery, so close to the battery here. It would just be really tight, and the wires would be all jammed in there. I have some images that are pretty scary looking, but so what we're going to do is we're going to mount the controller on the bottom of the frame. I have it at a hot rod shop. They're going to make a cover for it that will have holes punched into it so it's vented and allows for water to drain out should moisture get exposed to it. But it's also protected from the elements. And I also have fenders over here to mount on the bike. And I'll show you those later because I've got some questions. Maybe someone out there might have some good ideas on how to mount these other than the way they were designed. This is just not going to work that way. I'm going to move this real quick. Step this back a little bit so you can see what's going on here. Okay, so we've got the bike here. I've got it leaned up against the table, but I do have the kickstand out, so should I need to use a kickstand, I can. I want everything on this bike to be right where I'm going to be riding it and being comfortable. So I do have an adjustable seat coming in, seat post coming in, one with a lever so it raises up and lowers down. So when you're riding, you know your feet are spaced off the pedal. Because at this point, if you put the seat on here, even at its lowest level, here, your feet are pretty well bent. And then at the upper level, your knees would be up almost in your chest here. Now that's not a good position for riding, so you want to make sure your seat can go up, give you that proper distance so that you can actually use, when you want to pedal, have some power and pedal out of your cranks. So the best way to do that is, since I'm kind of short and I just barely fit on the bike as it is to do an adjustable seat. So I got a dropper seat seat post that's coming in. Once it's in here, we'll put it in place, put the seat on it, and I'll be able to adjust it, make sure it's working properly. And if it does, then I'll let you know what I got, where I got it. I am trying to source all the parts from AliExpress to show that you can get them all over there and still get a nice quality functioning bike. But in this video is to help you learn how to put it together. As I said earlier, they don't come with instructions, so we need to figure these out ourselves and help each other as far as putting them together.
The snow is falling heavy over town. Walking backwards in the snow. I hide my tracks as I go. The rain birds are singing nice and low. But I ain't got a clue where to go.
moment, I'm going to sign off. But before I do, I'll just show you real quick. I got these from a Chinese vendor, and they essentially have the motocross style, so I'm kind of happy about that. This is kind of what I wanted. Just didn't know how it mounted until I bought a set. I'm thinking, you know, in case I have to modify one and it doesn't modify correctly, I buy two sets. They were only a few dollars a piece. So, not a huge expense, but the original design for these uses a post which slides here and it mounts up in the bottom here, so this would sit up way up here. Kind of like motocross, yes. I need to make a bracket to hold it down here, because this is where I would like it, closer to the fender. And the reason is, as you can see, there will be a motor controller here. I don't have a whole lot of room for this fender to be traveling and hitting the frame. If it was up here, you can see there is no room for a controller. And I can't lower it down because the shocks will travel up into this. So what I want to do is mount this somehow so that it is on the shock itself. The shock travels, the spring, you know, the fender will travel with it, but it's rigid enough. So that is my current dilemma with that.
Hey everybody, thanks for sticking through that whole video. I know it's a lot of fast forwarding, little music in the background to kind of make that a less painful for you. But I just wanted to show you mocking up the handlebars, putting all the stuff on, you know, the brakes, the light switch, the motor control, speed controller, and the accelerator, all of that stuff that goes on the bike. And you also have a shifter for the rear gears in the back. So there's a lot of stuff on the handlebars there, and I just wanted to mock it up and make sure it felt right. And that's why I was kind of standing over the bike as I was doing it, because it's all about feel on these things. So this is basically a custom build, and if you're going to custom build it, you might as well custom build it to make sure it's fitting you. I decided to go ahead and put the rear fender on just since I have a seat post in place, and I don't like it, but it may serve its purpose until I can find something better. Any suggestions you guys got, maybe something you put on your bike, let me know. I want to make sure that when I'm riding in wet weather that I'm not having a wet stripe up my back because the tire is just throwing water up on me. I want to make sure there's a fender on there and also keeps debris from flying up into the bike. And the same with the front fender. I'm still trying to figure out a way to mount that to that little hoop that goes over top of the wheel and rides up and down with the shocks. There's no holes or anything tapped into it, so I'd like to find some way of maybe wire tying it or clamping it onto the fork tubes so that way the fender is rigid and in place, but it's not drilled and tapped into something. I don't want to drill any holes and weaken any of the structure there. Make sure you subscribe so that you can get updated on all of this stuff happening here in the Bry 2K TV channel. Thanks again for joining, and I will see you all on the sunny side.